We all know that a great movie requires a skilled director, a tight script, and a dedicated cast, but the art of casting itself is perhaps the most unsung of all cinematic disciplines. And with that in mind, I'm Josh from What Culture Horror, and today we're talking about upcoming horror movies that have already made perfect casting choices. First up, Maika Monroe in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. While pretty much nobody was asking for a remake of classic 90s horror thriller The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, it was much easier to see the value in it once the leads were announced. First and foremost, the role of the vengeful nanny, Mrs. Mott, as was played so brilliantly by Rebecca De Mornay in the original, will be played by the fantastic Maika Monroe. Monroe is, of course, one of the most compelling actresses in the horror space to make a name for herself over the past decade, and it's easy to see how she'll bring a uniquely uneasy intensity to the fore, in turn fully living up to De Mornay's iconic performance. The fact that she'll be working opposite an actress as terrific as Mary Elizabeth Winstead as well, who will portray the new version of Annabella Sciorra's embattled protagonist Claire Bartel, is just the icing on the cake. Even if this remake has questionable necessity then, whatever that even means in the current Hollywood era, at the very least Monroe's going to put in one hell of a creepy performance. Next up, Oscar Isaac in Frankenstein. We've seen so many big screen iterations of Frankenstein over the years that it's kind of tough to be enthusiastic about yet another one. Or at least it would be, were it not for Guillermo del Toro being attached to direct it. And more to the point, he's roped in one hell of an epic ensemble cast, led by the inimitable Oscar Isaac in the role of Victor Frankenstein. While there is, of course, a tendency for Victor to be overshadowed by his macabre creation in most Frankenstein movies, the first trailer for Del Toro's take certainly suggests that Isaac is going to give us a Victor for the ages. It's clear that he's going to nail the moral complexity of his character, Victor's obsessive desperation to play God, and then his having to reckon with the grim consequence of it. We know that Isaac's a marvelous actor all around, and so to see him bring his chops to a sumptuous gothic horror epic from one of our finest directors no less is just an irresistible combo. Next up we have Elle Fanning and Predator Badlands. Elle Fanning has been carving out quite the rep for herself as one of the most impressively versatile and adventurous actors of her generation, and so it didn't require much imagination to picture her starring in the new Predator movie, Predator Badlands. There's a fun twist here though, as Fanning won't be playing a human protagonist as initially expected, but actually a Weyland-Yutani synthetic by the name of Thea, that is forced to team up with Deck, a young Predator outcast who is seeking out his ultimate adversary. Fanning looks like she's having an absolute blast here and seems to add another terrific android performance to the Alien franchise's pantheon of great android performances. Plus, having a synth team up with a Predator is an entire new territory for both the Alien and Predator franchises, and so gives Fanning a ton of unique opportunities to work with. We know she's never been afraid to hurl herself physically into a role, and she's a remarkable dramatic actor to boot, so what's not to love about this? And next up, someone who was on this favourite t-shirt of mine, Margaret Qualley in Victorian Psycho. So, last year it was announced that Margaret Qualley will star in Victorian Psycho, a new horror film set in 1858 in which she portrays an eccentric governess tasked with nannying a wealthy family's children in their gothic home while keeping her psychotic tendencies at bay. Staff members soon start disappearing from the house, at which point the light of suspicion is shone firmly on the governess. It kind of goes without saying then that Qualley will eat this role alive, with the substance alone proving that she's got what it takes to play a character whose sanity teeters on a razor's edge. Furthermore, the film is being helmed by Zachary Wigan, who previously directed Qualley to perfection in the terrific 2022 psychological thriller Sanctuary, so it's abundantly clear that he knows how to get the best out of the actor. And if this one lives up to its potential, it's going to be one hell of an acting showcase. Next up, Marlon Wayans, Him. Him is definitely one of the most intriguing looking upcoming horror movies. A sports-centric genre offering in which rising American football player Cameron Cade is invited to train at the secluded compound of an aging legendary quarterback, Isaiah White. Of course, things quickly go south, and while Wayans, who is unmistakably best known for his comedy roles such as Shorty in Scary Movie, might seem like an odd casting choice for an intense villain, it's actually total genius. For one, Wayans has peppered the occasional dramatic role into his primarily comedy-focused career, and his sublime performance in Requiem for a Dream is really all the proof that you need of his ability to dive down a dark rabbit hole. Everything we've seen from the trailers for him as well so far suggests that Wayans is giving himself over completely to this role, using his boundless energy to create a uniquely discomforting antagonist. Next up, we're kind of cheating because we've got a duo, but we're talking about Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale in The Bride. While test screening reports on Maggie Gyllenhaal's bold new Bride of Frankenstein adaptation are kind of all over the place, you're likely to find few arguing with its two central casting choices. The great Jessie Buckley will star as Frankenstein's bride, while Frankenstein's monster will be played by the legendary Christian Bale. Buckley is such a brilliantly expressive actress, and considering The Bride is reportedly a partial musical, it'll also clearly make use of the singing chops that we saw from her in 2018's musical drama Wild Rose. As for Bale, there are few actors who can match his level of fierce intensity, and it's easy to see how he'll bring a unique and unforgettable energy to his iteration of Frankenstein's monster. Together, they're sure to make for a dynamic duo on screen as they play off one another, and it's tough to think of a more intriguing pairing for this wild reimagining of the classic text. Next, we have Rohan Campbell, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, there probably weren't too many fans of classic slasher flicks jonesing for another retelling of 1984's Yuletide gore-fest Silent Night, Deadly Night after 2012's remake, and yet it is once again getting a full-on reboot this Christmas. And the role of axe-wielding, Santa suit-wearing serial killer Billy Chapman will this time be played by Rohan Campbell, who made one hell of an impression as Corey Cunningham in Halloween Ends. Divisive though the response to the most recent Halloween movie was, Campbell acquitted himself superbly in the role of the unhinged and eventually murderous Corey. As such, it's easy to see how he'll effortlessly take up Billy's mantle for this reboot, and the released teaser trailer largely seems to confirm that Campbell is having an angry, ultra-violent hoot in the role. Regardless of how this reimagining turns out on the whole, then it likely won't want for an intense lead actor giving it his all. Rohan Campbell might not be a marquee name like some of the others on this list, but that's not what a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie has ever needed. Margot Robbie with Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. It was recently confirmed that Margot Robbie will be starring in and producing a remake of the classic sci-fi horror film Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, this time to be directed by Tim Burton. Anyone who's seen her in a film across the past decade and a half can probably understand why Robbie is just a no-notes choice to play a troubled woman whose encounter with an alien causes her to grow into a giantess, before she then, of course, plots her revenge on her philandering husband. Robbie obviously has the acting chops to knock this role out of the park, and with her also producing, she'll likely ensure that the flick's feminist themes pack a fresher, contemporary punch, just like something like Barbie did. Needless to say, the marketing probably won't have to work too hard either to sell this one, as the sheer novelty factor of a building-sized Margot Robbie will probably do most of the heavy lifting. For our final pick, we're ending with a horror icon, as we've got Samara Weaving with Over Your Dead Body. Samara Weaving has carved out quite the place for herself as one of horror's most enticing scream queens in recent years. While again, few were asking for a remake of Tommy Wirkola's riotous 2021 horror comedy The Trip, at least it gets top marks for its casting. The original film starred Noomi Rapace and Elle as a couple who have grown tired of one another, enough so in fact that each plots to kill the other during a cabin getaway. These roles will be played by Weaving and Jason Segel this time around, and considering how brilliant Weaving has been in so many horror comedies such as The Babysitter, Ready or Not, and Borderline, it's easy to picture her slotting right into Rapace's role quite perfectly. This is a part that requires an actress who can be hilarious while also getting her hands dirty with physically demanding action sequences, and damn if Samara Weaving hasn't proven time and time again that she is the absolute best at doing just that. Jason Segel's great too as well, don't get me wrong, but this is probably going to be the Weaving show. So that's our list. If you want to watch more great videos over on What Culture Horror, you can choose something on screen right now or click the channel button below.